I visited Benin Republic in May and I will be sharing my experiences. Our destination was Casa del Papa Resort at Ouida. I booked a slot last minute with a tourism company called Larinka and we were about 11 on that trip. It was a bus trip from Lagos and we left on a Friday and came back on a Sunday. The tourism company was nice enough to give us a bag of goodies with food and the bus was air conditioned, only that the smell of the fuel did not go away. We left Ikeja, Lagos around 8 a.m. and we didn't get to our destination till around 5 p.m. I can't remember the route, but I know we passed through Badagry and we stopped for a bit to get some extension boxes and to stretch. Take note, the prevalent socket connection in our destination is a rounded mouth one, and that wasn't very easy to find in Lagos. After that, the issue started. We had to stop at like 15 or more checkpoints after every 20 seconds. It was really exhausting. They had to clear, settle, whatever. Nobody told me traveling to another country by road was like this. I'm glad I didn't go by myself because this process was very frustrating and exhausting. Our guide was the one relating to the officers for checks, and all these processes would still be repeated when we are returning. Then we finally got to the border and we all had to calm down while they stamped our passports and all. Again, we didn't have to do much since our guides were handling everything. We only had to go for biometrics and sit down. And we finally entered the country and you won't believe the drama that started between the driver, our guides, and the people at the entrance. I don't know what to call that place, the demarcation between, I don't know, like who is supposed to pay for this, that, who is settling who, and blah, blah, blah. We were there for a bit. Anyways, we got in eventually and stopped to change our currency and buy new SIMs. I did not feel the need to buy a new SIM though. I thought I could rely on the resort's Wi-Fi, but Also, anyone who needed to speak to me could always call on WhatsApp, right? It costs about 11,000 Cefa for SIM and data. That's like 22,000 Naira, and that did not make sense to me. So we made our way to Ouida, the village where the resort is located. That took a while as well, like 2 hours. We passed the longest graffiti wall, which I will capture properly on the way back. The arts are truly beautiful. So after much sleeping and waking, we got to the village and gosh, so many trees, the landscape and all. This is refreshing. There's an ongoing construction of a Chinese resort close to Casa del Papa, and maybe this is what will bring me back here. That's if non-Chinese are allowed. The water, tree, nature, everything, a breath of fresh air away from Lagos air. We finally arrived. First impression, I must say a lot of work needs to be done on the roads leading to this place. Nothing fancy with the exteriors, but it's still alright. We booked the seaside rooms, although there are lakeside ones on the other side. We got to the reception and that receptionist can do better. For a resort, you have to welcome people warmly, not act like they are people that you don't care whether they come or not. He didn't smile, just asked us to do this, do that, and it was quite stern. I don't even understand. Moving to the rooms, I just love the view. Just waking up and looking at trees and water felt so good. I was already imagining how I'll go to sleep on one of the benches close to the water at night, but that did not happen. That place was too dark. As for the rooms, I was not impressed at all. The seats on the balcony are old, even if I did not sit there. The painting, styles, furniture, everything was giving old vibes. Now, my ultimate disappointment, there was no fridge. For us that brought some foods and drinks, nothing for us. No electrical appliances as well. Now, the one that annoyed me the most was that there was no Wi-Fi in the room. Is this not why I did not buy a SIM card to recharge? So the passwords we took at the reception only apply to that area, the restaurant and the pool, meaning you can't stay in your room to use the Wi-Fi. Then the bathroom, my God, why is there no demarcation for God's sake? I have a serious problem with bathrooms like this. Why? Anyway, I want to comment on the tourism company I went with. I was paired with someone who had a baby. I didn't have much problem with that, but wouldn't it have been polite to tell me about that before automatically pairing me? or maybe some other form of arrangement. I thought that was silly of them. And if I choose to go on a trip with a tourism company again, I'll either go with someone I know or pay for a whole room to myself. But again, this was a last minute trip. After resting, we all came out to order dinner at the restaurant. I like the whole setting, the fact that it's outside close to the water. You can just hear the sound of nature. That was so cozy. Normally, I find it difficult to pick food from a menu, but what now made it even harder was that they did not have the pictures of their food online, and the menu was mostly in French. Before I selected anything, it took time. I eventually ordered for spaghetti bolognese with ice cream. Other people ordered some strange food and did not like it, especially their meat. Some did, but I tasted some of it and I did not like it as well. I liked my own food, but others did not. They seem to not like putting salt and sugar in the right places in this country. After that, we moved to the poolside. I wasn't really planning to swim that night, but I was motivated by those swimming. Plus, someone in our group was teaching another person so well, I had to join and learn what I could, even if I did not make progress until the next day. The next day, I headed out for a breakfast buffet. It was raining, so the sands were wet. We also had to wait a while before food was ready, so I went to the water. What a perfect way to begin your day. So for breakfast, there was cereal, all sorts of sugar-free bread, cakes, veggies, pasta, juice, and all. I decided I wanted to have a bit of everything to get familiar with their taste buds, and honestly, I don't even know. I think the only thing I liked was the croissant. After a while, we went off to the lakeside part of the resort to kayak. Thank God I had previous experience because those people were not willing to show us how. I kayaked to my satisfaction, and honestly, doing this was so therapeutic. I didn't even want to come out. After that, I went in to change and did some beach shoots, which you'll find in the short version of this video. Then I slept by the poolside for a bit and went to get ready for our outing. We stopped by at a local restaurant to place our orders for food because, according to our guide, that's the best place to eat since the resort food was expensive and we needed to have a taste of their food outside since we were in the country. Some kids were having some sort of dance competition beside the place, hilarious one. After ordering, we went to the Python temple. Apparently, they have a lot of temples here. The funny thing is that the church is directly opposite this one. We entered and I managed to record what I could. They were describing what the items there were for and the rituals they performed: 41 virgins fetching water to fill the pot, cleansing inside a small room, blah, blah, blah. So apparently these pythons have human families. A lot to say about that, but let's not get into that. Then some people agreed to put the python, their god, on their neck. So I didn't do that. Then they have some souvenirs for sale there. I also did not buy anything there, of course. I only came for journalism. My group did not even agree to take pictures there, and some did not even bother entering. So we left there and headed to the slavery site where there was a guide narrating the stories. There are 6 points to this, and the story is quite emotional. The first point was the slave market where they lined them up in chains for days and weeks to sell them under the sun. Second point was the forgotten tree where they made them forget their identities. We could not see this one. The third was the darkness room where they threw them in while waiting for the ship to arrive. The fourth point was the mass grave where they buried those who could not withstand. The fifth was the return tree where they said their last wishes and hoped for their souls to return to the village. Then the last point was the gate of no return where they boarded the ships. Wow, so sad. I get emotional with slavery stories. The next thing after hearing sad stories is to drink some coconut water. Village things, there was no straw available, so we had to gulp it. It was a lot for me, but I had to force it down. I could not eat the coconuts because it was too soft, and I don't know how others were eating it. It looked weird. Then we headed back to the restaurant. I ordered jollof rice without knowing what to expect. God, can these people add some salt and spices to their food, please? Because why was that rice so tasteless? Anyways, thank God for the plantain and turkey. This cost 2,000 Cefas. I've used 4,000 naira to buy buka food. No problem. Started to dance to their music. I was confused. Is this Spanish or French now? Because the beat sounded Spanish or Italian, but whatever. So we headed back to resort, and the next thing was to resume swimming practice. Thanks to a kind person in the group, I learned how to swim that night. I couldn't flap properly, but I learned the breaststroke, and I'm glad. Sunday morning, I packed up ready to leave that room. I went to spend some time with the water because that's the only thing I would miss. Then we went for breakfast, same thing as yesterday with a few tweaks. I like the chicken nuggets or whatever that was. I tried to take some snacks for the road. I knew not to do this, but yeah. I was told it was not allowed. I knew it was not allowed, of course. I just wanted to try. I wish they did not see me though. So after that, it was bye-bye and off to Nigeria. We stopped by at the mall to get stuff. I didn't have much left in cash, so I just bought chips and some kind of bread for the house. I wish I brought more money. There was actually a lot I could have bought, like the diffusers for a cheaper price and some chocolates and bread. I think the few people I've met here are not very polite, or maybe I'm wrong. I was trying to understand how to pack my items since they don't give out plastic bags like we do in Nigeria. And the lady at the counter was looking at me funny when I was demonstrating to her that I needed to pack my stuff. I was very irritated with the way she was even acting sluggish. Someone had to tell me that they use empty cartons, so you have to find one lying around somewhere. After that, we headed to see the Amazonian statue. That statue is huge and beautiful. I could only imagine what would happen if it began to move its feet. Anyways, too many movies. Then we were on our way straight to Lagos. That's the graffiti wall as promised. We went back to the border to stamp and stopped like 50 times at the checkpoints, and we got to Lagos. Finish. Overall, it was not a mind-blowing experience. I think Casa is overrated and over-mentioned, and I won't be coming here on vacation again unless I really have to. I will also only come back to this country if I just want to take a stroll outside Nigeria or if I have business to do. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Please like and follow for more. You can find the cost breakdown in the description below. Bye, and I'll see you in my next.